Hi, my name is Shiny Doggy, and today I'm doing a draw with me. So let's get drawing. So this is Stelly. I don't know exactly what breed of cat Stelly is, but she is a long-haired cat, and the person said that they wanted her playing. So I just sketched up two kind of more playful ones, and it was specifically playing with a bug, chasing after a bug. So that's, can you see the bug? Truthfully, commissions really stress me out because I'm always worried that, like, I'm not gonna do what they want and they're gonna be like, oh, this is hideous. I thought that you could draw something that you don't draw. But what was nice about the group of people that commissioned me for this round of pet portraits is that they generally have an understanding of how I draw. So when I was sending the sketches, people were really enthusiastic, which was nice. And it also helped me remind myself that, like, just because I'm drawing the way I draw doesn't mean that it's bad or like too easy for someone to pay me to do it, because I've spent years, years learning how to draw, and this is what I have found most aesthetically pleasing or easiest for me to do, or like how my brain sees things. So here's me desperately trying to figure out how to do a cat standing on their back legs. But But besides having the fear of, or overcoming the fear of making a commission and someone not liking it, was the fear of having to do a sketch live, or I guess belated live, for the draw with me, because I feel like a lot of artists are very confident in their lines and doing things, and sometimes it's a little hard in my mind's eye to see the shapes. So it's nice to be able to just like move everything around and try things in different spots, because it gets a little hazy in my mind. Like this one, I wanted it on the hind legs and jumping up, but I couldn't figure out how to like cutesy make like the trunk torso. And so I was like, I could just have it like looking off to the side and have the paw up like it's about to go and jump for it. But I took these two and I sent them to the person who commissioned me, and they said that they really liked the second one. I like to give a couple examples for somebody to choose from, so that way they have more, what's the word, not autonomy, they have more choice in the decision, and it's not me just like coming at them with a finished piece. And doing it early really helps me, like, what's the words, not have to do a bunch of work later. That's the words, the full sentence. Because if you send the sketch, there's a lot of things that you can alter or fiddle with. But if you were doing a final piece, you'd have to do an entirely new final piece. So I highly recommend doing some sketches if you're doing commissions. But if I could also go back to the point of, commissions are so scary, and it's okay if you feel overwhelmed by it, because it's very, very normal. But once you send them to people and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it, and it's like in your style, it's such a big confidence boost that you're like, yeah, people do like how I draw. This is wild. So now I'm going back over the sketch for a secondary rough. I know another rough over the rough might be a little redundant, but for me, it really helps me when I'm doing the final line, because that one was like more of the idea, the blue one, and now the red is like, okay, this is where things are gonna go. The hard part, though, is why do you always love the sketch layer so much more than the final line? I struggled with that a lot with this one, just because, like, when you're sketching, you put down like 3 or 4 lines and you don't have like the one final one. And what ends up happening is somewhere within those 3 or 4 lines is the right line. But then when you're doing the final line, you choose the wrong one, or just like one that doesn't make a lot of sense. So you end up with something that you feel like doesn't look as great as the one before. But what's helped me a lot with that is just line confidence. And so in my sketchbook, I use a pen, and it's really frustrating if I'm just like trying to be casual with drawing something out with friends, because I can't erase. But what it has done is it's made it so I'm very confident in my line. Well, I say very as if I haven't like used the tool to like move everything around. But it's made me a lot more confident than I was before, because sometimes I see people draw and they're like using like 15 different colors for this sketch and like going over it over and over and over and over. And I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself? Just like start training yourself with a pen. That being said, I do love drawing with pencil. That's why I used this brush. It felt more like pencil-y. So I knocked the underdrawing to like 40%. I don't know. I can't really see from here. And then started drawing over it. So now I'm using the black, so that way it can look like pencil. But the underlayers I try and keep like blue or red, just that way my eyes aren't fighting that hard. Because if I had made it gray, then when I started getting to the shading parts, it would have been a little confusing. But it's a nice little contrast. And so on the under sketch, you can see I have some like hair tufts on there. But with the pen, I'm able to, or with the final line, I'm able to like accentuate them a little more and make them a little more stylized. I love hair tufts, especially on long-haired animals, because the way that they like bend and fold, it just feels so fancy. And truthfully, I'll ask if I can share a photo, but this cat is so cute. Her name is Stelly, and she's so fluffy, and she looks, I don't have a cat. I don't have any pets. So doing these pet portraits are so much fun because I love, 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 love animals. And I'm definitely the person who is like, all animals love me. I will be chosen by them. If they can just talk to me, if they can just smell me, they'll know I'm pure of heart and they'll be my best friend. So it's really nice to be able to just like draw them and be like, yes, I know who you are and you know who I am. I also really like pet portraits because the pets, to my knowledge, don't have insecurities about the way that they look. I do live drawing for a comedy show, and they're pretty quick sketches, and so it's not that big of a deal. I can make them pretty cartoony. But when I do commissions, for some reason, I feel like I have to do like a little bit more than what I would just do for like my own thing. So I do push myself a little bit more. But when it's people, it's not like I'm drawing people ugly, but I'm drawing people how I see them, which is beautiful. I think that these people are beautiful. However, you don't know what insecurities people have, and so you could draw a feature that you're like, this is so beautiful, you're literally so stunning, and then they're like, I actually like don't like how I look when I'm like at that angle, or like this sort of thing isn't how I want to be perceived. I've had a few things where it's like, this doesn't look like me, and it's like, I'm looking at like 4 photos of you. Did you want me to just trace you? So I try and stay away from doing people portraits of people that I don't know personally. Or if it's like, hey, can you draw all 3 of us? And then one person who doesn't know my art has say in it, because they're going to make assumptions of what they think art is, which is like usually like the TikTok, Instagram photorealism, and then be like, hey, why doesn't this look like me? So keeping commissions for people, for me, is very much like, I need to know you and you need to know my art. Like, I can't just like learn a new art style in a day, so that way you can have something that you shouldn't have commissioned me for in the first place. So I try and be very, very clear when I am opening my commissions of like, this is what I do and this is how I do it and this is what it's going to look like. So that way there's just no surprises. And I also put like, this is going to be digital, because some people sometimes when you're like, I'm doing commissions, are like, oh wait, why didn't you do a traditional drawings? But it's also, I never do that. So why would I randomly just start doing that? Don't get me wrong. I love traditional and I love traditional pieces, but again, I don't do them that often. So it'd be learning a whole new skill, which take a lot more time. And the point of opening your commissions is to make money and not have to invest more time than you should on it. Because not gonna lie, I do undersell my portraits, or the pet portraits, because a lot of the people who are getting them are like friends or peers, and I know that they don't have like billions and billions of dollars to throw at things. So when they give me X amount of money, I know it's a really big deal, so I try and do like a really good job. But at the same time, I have to be fair to myself. I can't be working for $5 an hour, because I could just go work at a movie theater, grocery store, coffee shop, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yes, I'm so grateful to get money for doing art, but at the same time, I'm not going to abuse my time, because we have such limited time on earth as it is. And if I end up doing that too much, then I end up getting really upset that I'm not working on my personal work. And I love drawing animals. I love drawing pets. It's so much fun. But I don't think that I would, on my own time, be doing like fan art of my friends' pets. Sometimes I would, maybe. But I'd probably be working on comics or animation. I don't do a lot of illustrations per se. Starting to, but that's definitely not the norm for me. Okay, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to talk about the drawing process. So I I blocked out the main parts of the color patterns on the fur, and then I filled those in dark, and then I chose to try and make about 2 tones for it, so that way I wouldn't be doing too much pencil mileage. So I did a dark one and then a medium, and I did it at the same flow and opacity from the digital pen or pencil or brush. It's a brush. It's definitely a brush. But then in the layer property, I knocked it to 50%, so that way that would be there. And then I was like, it needs a little bit more. So I kept adding more layers and then kept doing the same thing. Sorry, I'm not perfect. I never make up my mind. It was very fun though. To like start seeing it all come together and putting in little bits of grass. I did realize though that the head was a little bit of a weird size, so I kept opening and closing it. That is another thing. It really, really helps to just export progress images, so that way you can be like, and like look at it on your phone or look at it in like Discord or like an Instagram story. You can make like a fake account where you're not actually posting to your stories, or you can just like kind of put it in there, make it a draft. Just seeing it in different places as a digital image sometimes helps you see things that you don't see when you're doing it on your computer or iPad or whatever. So I'm a big advocate for that, as well as flipping your canvas, but also more in the early stages, because if you're flipping your canvas towards the end, then you'll be like, I made all these mistakes. But it also doesn't look that bad when you're doing it from that one flip. I don't know if this makes any sense. It's not the worst thing in the world if your perspective's a little skew and doesn't work from flipping it the other way. But doing that in the sketch stage will definitely help you be like, something's off here. And then you can usually figure that out by flipping the canvas, because you're like, oh yeah, this eyeball looks funky. But yes, it is wrapping up. We're putting in the little hair tufts inside of the ears. I just wanted to get some shadows, like push the shapes a little bit more. I did find a moth that was local to the area of this person, because I don't know, I like putting in little Easter eggs like that. Like a while ago I did a poster for a show, and I found wildflowers that were native to the area that the theater's in, because the theater's also next to a park. They didn't ask for that, but I thought that it'd be super fun. And there it is. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing this draw with me. It is my first one, so sorry if it's a little choppy. But again, I am so, so appreciative. I am going to do some other ones, so stay tuned. Please, what is it? The like and subscribe or whatever? I don't know. Just come and hang out. And if you want more, I do stream on Twitch. If you go to twitch.com/Shiny Doggy, that's where I'll be. All right. Goodbye. Thank you so much. Bye, 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 bye.